Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. It's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome in, Hunt and Hill on a Tuesday from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city. I'm Hunt Palmer. He is Hill, Jeremy Hill. Casey Gaines and Taylor Sharp back there on the ones and twos. Mr. Hill, how are you?
I'm doing great. I don't know if Saints fans are doing too hot right now, though.
I'm laughing. And he left his Dennis Allen shot sheet here, and instead of, I usually write a check whenever we play a soundbite, Hanny just puts an X through it, and I'm just imagining Hanny like looking through this Dennis Allen sound and just giving an X to every single thing that Dennis Allen had to say. If you heard Charlie in his show a little bit earlier, he was not thrilled with some of the quotes from the Saints head coach, and nobody down in South Louisiana is very thrilled with the Saints play to this point, certainly not last night. We'll talk a little bit more about that moving forward, some Heisman talk, new playoff rankings coming out tonight. We'll get to some of that, LSU football. I got a question to ask Jeremy at the top of hour number 2. We'll get to that, and Sharif is going to, unfortunately, talk a little bit about the Saints at 2:30. But usually at 1:30 on Tuesdays, we chat with Glenn West. He's going to be chatting with LSU basketball coach Matt McMahon. The Tigers open up the season tomorrow. So we'll bring Glenn right on at the top of the show. He joins us now. Glenn, thanks for the time. How are you?
Hey, guys. The day that the Saints, Pelicans, and LSU football are all successful is the day of the apocalypse. So
well,
can't all be at once. So
it is not at once. So, but LSU football feeling pretty good about themselves. You've been in that stadium a lot of times. What was your experience like on Saturday night?
Yeah, nothing like it. I mean, I think the only thing that really compares, in my opinion, is the 2018 Georgia game where, that was really the start of the Joe Burrow era and kind of everything starting to fall in line for those guys with that big win. But just a really exciting, final, fourth quarter and overtime. I was on the field for the final 5 minutes of the fourth quarter and then overtime as well. Just an instant classic, one that you'll remember for, 50 years down the line, just where you were. And to have a front row seat to that one was an extremely invaluable experience for me.
What surprised you about the way the game played out?
Honestly, I would say probably the biggest surprise was just how calm LSU was in those big moments. I mean, we've seen them have these kind of moments before where they've had a chance to really put their foot down on teams and haven't always made the plays. I mean, the Tennessee game was a classic example of some moments there where you could have made that a much more interesting game than it turned out to be. And I just wanted to see that. The biggest thing I wanted to see kind of heading into it was just an LSU team that was extremely competitive against a team that they weren't really favored to beat, and in a high pressure situation, what that group would look like. And look, the offense made all the plays down the stretch. The defense really kind of kept them in the game for much of the first half by holding Alabama to field goal attempts instead of getting in the end zone when the field's short. And it was just a complete team effort. And I think it was just another really building block, that Coach Kelly can point to as to how this program will be run in the future and what it looks like when this team is clicking on all cylinders.
Better job through 3 months in season, Mike Denbrock or Matt House?
I mean, if you're asking me to pick one, I would probably give the edge a little bit to Matt House. I mean, what he's done with that group, I mean, just so many new players on that defense right now, so many injuries that have cropped up on him throughout the season. For him to be, consistently scheming up these game plans has been really special. And look, you have to have the players to be able to go out and do it. I mean, the emergence of Harold Perkins these last several weeks has been one of the bright stories of the entire season. I think an underrated performance this weekend was Jarek Bernard-Converse. I thought he was fantastic, starting this thing off with the interception, but really clamping down on the outside on those Alabama receivers, making it tough on Bryce Young to complete some of those passes. And I think it's just been a really special job that Matt House has done, and it's something that's going to, I would imagine, continue. He's been phenomenal for him.
Got to put you on the spot here, Glenn. A question that was asked to me, I couldn't really think of it. So actually, you're the great journalist here. Have you ever seen a quarterback improve the way we've kind of seen Jaden Daniels do mid-season these last 4 weeks?
Not mid-season. I mean, you could make the argument that, Burrow from 18 to 19 was probably as big a jump you'll ever see in college football history. But midseason, I would say probably not. I mean, the way that Jaden has really orchestrated this offense the last 3 games has been just a complete 180 from what we saw earlier this year. I mean, he's extremely aggressive. He's taking shots downfield. One of the keys I kind of had coming into the game was for him to continue to be aggressive and take those shots, because Alabama has been prone to penalties this year. And, they got called, I think, for at least three pass interference penalties downfield that kept drives alive. I mean, those are the kind of plays that Jaden wasn't really making earlier this year. But it comes from, a growth and trust with these receivers, with the coaches, with, the game plan that they're devising for him. And then what made it really special was to see him do it with his legs. I mean, he's done it with his arm, he's done it with his legs. But, the special plays that we kind of thought he would make coming into the season with his legs, I mean, that was in full effect on that. Obviously the overtime run, but also that 35-yard run in the fourth quarter there that really set them up for that final touchdown. That's going to be a really special run to remember for a long time.
We've seen Brian Kelly's press conference post-game, then again yesterday. You spoke with players after the game. What would you describe their emotions as, whoever you got to talk to post-game?
Yeah, I mean, I would say probably just jubilation, elation. I mean, just all the positive vibes you could possibly think of. I mean, we were sitting. I mean, the media was in an absolute frantic mode there, because I mean, we were all shoulder to shoulder with all these fans that were on the field, and we didn't know if we were going to be able to get into the locker room at any point. And we sat there for a good minute in the locker room afterwards, and you could just hear constant screams and shouts from the LSU locker room, in the back there. And it's just a really meaningful win for this program. And you could see that on the face of Coach Kelly immediately after the game. It's something that they, completely shifted, I guess, on Monday in terms of just getting the focus redialed for Arkansas. But this is a team that's playing with a lot of confidence and a lot of momentum, and that's going to be extremely dangerous down the stretch.
Speaking of dangerous, 11 o'clock in the morning, temps in the high 30s. Arkansas team coming off a loss to Liberty. How does Brian Kelly kind of get this thing refocused over the next few days?
Yeah, I mean, these are the kind of games that you brought Coach Kelly in for, not just to win the big important games against Alabama, but to not have the letdown game the next week. I mean, that hasn't always been the case here at LSU. When you pick up a big win, it always seems like, at least in the last 10, 12 years or so, that there's been a letdown performance there in the middle. So you brought him in to kind of re-gear the thinking, the mindset, the focus, and that's where I think you're really going to see this pay off this weekend. Because this is, he didn't want to use the word trap game yesterday. He was asked about it, but this is a classic game here where if LSU's not dialed in and focused at all levels, then this is a game that could get, a little hairy for him. And so I do think LSU's going to have to really, lock in this weekend in practice. And I know that the coaching staff is certainly not going to let this momentum go to waste.
SEC leading rusher on that Arkansas football team with Raheem Sanders. How confident are you in this defense that can slow him down this Saturday?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you look at some of the performances. I thought the pass rush was pretty solid for LSU last weekend. They were getting, KJ Jefferson, or they were getting Bryce Young. Sorry, I had Arkansas on the mind there, but they were getting Bryce Young in a lot of, troubling situations, across the field. And now you're facing a KJ Jefferson who is a little bit of a different kind of quarterback. He's a little bit more mobile. He's a little bit more, he's a little bit more stronger and more physical than maybe Bryce Young is. And so that's going to be a different challenge than I think LSU has faced defensively this year. So they're going to have to lock in on him, and certainly the running attack of Arkansas is going to be a focus here. But I think the way that Mekhi Wingo's played, the way that you've really seen some growth from Jacoby Guillory, from obviously Jaquelin Roy, this front seven is going to be ready to go.
All right, you're about to chat with LSU head basketball coach Matt McMahon. They take the hardwood tomorrow night against Kansas City. What are your expectations through the first couple of months with this LSU basketball team?
Well, this is going to be, if you look at their schedule, at least non-conference wise, this is going to be a one where LSU is going to have a chance to really tinker with their lineups. I think be able to mess with their rotations a little bit. I think this is a schedule for LSU to really start off the season strong and find out what their rotations are going to be the rest of the year come SEC play. I expect LSU to probably go 8 or 9 deep, maybe 10, in the first couple games, just to see which guys work well with who. I mean, you get all this practice time, but you don't really get to know what your team is like until you get them out on the floor. And so I'm going to be extremely interested to see, do they go a little bit bigger with their starting lineup? Do they like to maybe make it a little bit more smaller with some wings and wing heavy and guard heavy? Or, I'm just going to be really interested to see how they kind of play and mess around here these first couple of games to really find out what the rotation is going to look like. But I've heard a lot of really good things, about Jalen Reed, the freshman. We've heard a lot of Imwani Wilkinson kind of growing as a leader and as a more aggressive offensive player. Obviously, you return Adam Miller, and then you got these 3 transfers in from Murray State. I think are going to be huge impact players for this team.
Glenn, we'll let you get to it. Thanks so much for your time.
All right, guys. Thanks. Appreciate you.
He is Glenn West, Go247, joins us each and every Tuesday here on Hunt and Hill. Missouri Kansas City is coming in tomorrow for the opener. They got their season underway last night. They played a school called Lincoln, the Blue Tigers. Never heard of Lincoln. I don't know where it is. I'm assuming maybe Lincoln, Nebraska. I can't swear by that. What I can tell you is the Kangaroos, which is Missouri, Kansas City, who LSU will play tomorrow, lost to the Lincoln Blue Tigers 59-56. So I'm not thinking a Final Four contender coming to the P-back tomorrow should be able to get things off on the right foot, I would think.
Yeah, no, if you lose to that team, things aren't as gloomy and bright as we
What
thought.
is a blue tiger?
I have no idea. I've seen a white tiger before. I don't know about a blue one. I
don't know what a red storm is, and who cares? Call yourself whatever you want. I don't know that I've seen a blue tiger. It didn't matter. They got it done last night against UMKC, who the Tigers will see tomorrow. All right, we got our Tuesday show off and running here. Sharif Ishak with us in hour number 2, talking Saints. When we come back, unfortunately, we will talk about the Saints. It's Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
One Bath and Closets. Check out the website, onebathandclosets.com. Seriously, go to the website, onebathandclosets.com. It can show you some of the really simple, really elegant things they can do with your bathroom or closet remodel. It doesn't have to be a 4-month redo of your entire home. Some things they do are very simple and can be very time and cost effective. Talk about tub to shower conversions all the time. They can take that tub that sits in your bathroom, pull it out, and put in a gorgeous walk-in shower there. They can do these acrylic walls and update a bathroom really in as little as 1 to 2 days at times. Now, every job's different. We understand that. And every job that they do at One Bath and Closets is customized, especially the closet process, which if you go there right now and tell them Hunt and Hill sent you, you're talking about 30% off your closet renovation or remodel. They're licensed contractors at One Bath and Closets. They can knock some walls out and redo your entire situation in terms of your closet, or they can take your current closet and just use it a little bit more effectively. They start the process with the questionnaire. They understand what you want to do, and they give you the exact product that you want at the end. And they're not going to be coming back 2 to 3 weeks later because something's wrong and they got to fix a problem. They're going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. One Bath and Closets is your call. David Duvall and his crew been in the game for 30 years. One Bath and Closets. The website is onebathandclosets.com.
Professional golfers John Peterson and JJ Colleen answer all your golf and life questions inside the new Drop Biscuit Studios podcast for the people. Download or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $11,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% with 72 months on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you. Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there.
Jimmy out and Mike Delicano for the Tuesday evening edition of Game Time, presented by Bet Rivers. We're at Mike Anderson's on Lee, just off of Nicholson. That's Game Time, presented by Bet Rivers, 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I'm getting some heat in the Bayou Ford chat for wearing a red shirt today. Well, how can you wear a red shirt Arkansas week? Well, I mean, it's election day. I was going with the red and the blue. I was going with kind of a flag theme here. I'm trying to be a great patriot here.
Oh, man, Bayou Ford chat. You got to love the boys in the Bayou Ford chat.
I don't have any Arkansas gear. I don't have any Saints gear either. And you wouldn't need it today if you did, because the black and gold are hurting. Last night in the Dome, 27-13 was the final, and really wasn't all that close. Look, there's so many different talking points that we could go to, but they all point the same direction. They point to a team that is beat up. They point to a team that is not very good. They point to a team that has what looks to be a very bleak future. They played a really good football game against the Raiders, but that's the outlier at this point. Mainly, you've been a mediocre to poor football team, and they were outclassed last night. And yes, Michael Thomas is not playing. And yes, Jarvis Landry is not playing. And yes, Marshawn Lattimore is not playing. And yes, Jameis Winston was hurt. I get on and on and on, but the Ravens don't have Mark Andrews, and they don't have their top 2 running backs. And they look fine, too, because they've got a really good player at quarterback, and the Saints don't. I thought the Saints defense came out in a pretty live Dome. Tyron made a couple tackles early. DeMario was kind of flying around. The Saints looked like, okay, nice week last week, shutting out the Raiders. This looks a little bit better. But inevitably, the Ravens got the ground game going a little bit with Drake, and Lamar made a couple really nice plays, including kind of the first touchdown where May bit on kind of a run fake. And the Saints offense was absolutely putrid, which put the defense back on the field far too often, and they're just not going to be able to hold up against a quarterback that good. And they didn't, and they got their butts kicked. I don't know. I don't have another way to say it.
Yeah, you asked me at the end of the show yesterday how I felt about that game, and just a bad matchup. And NFL is a matchup-driven league, and for the Saints, you're going against 2 top corners in NFL on the outside against your not best receivers, and you got 2 linebackers in the middle. Shout out Patrick Queen. That can do the job on Alvin Kamara in the passing game and slow him down. And then now you got a offensive line who really were forced to pass protect time and time again, and they were just getting way too much pressure on Andy Dalton. And early on in that game, Ramchick blocks down on the tackle, leaves a guy wide open, and you had a guy open, and then now you're punting the ball again. And it just couldn't see that rhythm that you kind of saw in that Raiders game where Andy's just pitch and catch, getting the ball out quick, and then kind of slowing Kamara down in that game, and him not having that explosive performance he had against the Raiders. It really had you, nipping at the bid, and then it's so hard to stop these elite quarterbacks. I thought the Saints defense, put them in some third down situations where you should be able to get them off the field, but then they dump it off to the running back. He runs for a first down. Lamar's using his legs, and they really didn't have to have those explosive plays to kind of really, go up and down the field. And for a defense, that's the most demoralizing way to lose a football game. And so for the Saints, like I always say, you arch your record is. This record's really bad. That team is starting to look like a really bad football team.
I look at the flow of the game, watching it, look at the stat sheet. Sometimes things match up, sometimes they don't. You're surprised when you see the stat sheet. Not at all was I surprised to see the run disparity between the Ravens and the Saints because you saw it unfold. The Saints could not run the football. They eventually abandoned the run because they were behind. Now, they weren't behind so far that you had to totally quit on it. You weren't down 24 points or something. At halftime, as bad as it was, you were down 14-3. At the end of the third quarter, as bad as it was, you were down 17-6. It wasn't as if you were down 4 scores or something and had to just start chucking it all over the place, but they still abandoned the run totally. Alvin Kamara had 9 carries in the game. Taysom Hill had 1 carry in the game. You ran the ball 15 times. The Ravens ran it 40. I mean, it was obvious watching it. Now, Lamar makes the highlight plays, and he's running a little bit, and he throws the touchdown pass, but the run game was what it was, and the Saints abandoned it. The Ravens knew it. They started getting up the field. The Saints line can't pass block. You got Throckmorton out there who's mediocre at best. It just they just got toasted. And so that's the story of this game. The story of the season is you look at the Saints' schedule, far more often than not, they just have looked pathetic. For 3/4 of the Atlanta game, their offense was absolutely atrocious. The entire Buccaneers game, the offense was atrocious. The entire Carolina game, the offense was atrocious. Finally, Jameis doesn't play when you go to London. You scored 25 points in the Vikings game. Was it great? No. In the Seahawks game, you did have a good offensive output. You scored 39 points in that game. But how much of that was just Taysom taking the football and running it? Now, he's still on your team, and that's certainly a legal play, but it's just not something you can build your offense around. You just had a really nice game plan against a bad defense, and they didn't have an answer for it, and you crushed them. Good on you for that. You come back against the Bengals and score 26. Cardinals, you score 34. It was a pretty good offensive game, except for the fact you had 2 ridiculous turnovers that turned into points and a third one in the end zone. And then, against the Raiders and last night, your offense wasn't great. Far more often than not, whether you want to break the season into halves, games, you just don't look very good on offense.
Yeah, and if I told every Saints fan that went to that game last night, Lamar's going to have 12 completions for 133 yards.
Yeah.
I'm sure every one of them would have took that. And so to lose a game where you're not really kind of getting lit on fire by that passing attack and really just demoralizing way. Drake only went for 3.9 a carry, and so you're kind of slowing him down. He's not really gashing you with big-time runs, but when you can hand it off time and time and time again and just allow this offensive line, there's a really big offensive line to just fire off the ball. It's just really tough to lose a game that way. And so for the Saints, a lot of those points you're talking about is garbage time minutes where you're down a bunch of points late in games and you're scoring touchdowns when they're backing off and don't want to get big plays. But when you have to have it early on and execute it, and you just haven't seen that, and it's really hard to do, kind of with the receivers that they're having on the outside and really, like you said, abandoned in the run game. It's just the worst type of way to play a game, especially when you don't have one of those top 10 quarterbacks in the league. Andy had a big-time spot to hit Callaway for a touchdown. You got to make those throws, and those are the type of throws that, keep you in football games, keep points on the board. I think if you score 7 there, who knows, you may put a little more pressure on Baltimore not to hand it off, but those are the plays that bad teams make. They don't execute, they don't score the touchdowns, and then you look up and you wonder why, you only got 3 points at halftime. It's just making those plays, and they just weren't able to do that time and time again.
He's just so limited, Andy is. He can't move. So when they get a pass rush, he's a sitting duck. He doesn't have a huge arm. You don't have home run threats out there. And he's kind of a dink and dunk guy who, as you mentioned, missed a huge touchdown throw that I don't know that it changes the course of the entire game, but it certainly changes the feel early in the game when you strike back and get a touchdown, and maybe you get the crowd going a little bit, which helps the defense. But you got a quarterback that can't move, doesn't really stretch the field. He's serviceable at best. And that may be better than Jameis, who's at worst injured and potentially just inaccurate, rusty, hasn't played for 3 years, and isn't very good anymore. I don't know. We don't see Jameis Winston. They see him in practice. They've determined Andy Dalton's better. And if Andy Dalton's better, then every quarterback on your roster is not very good.
Yeah. No, it's quarterback purgatory. That's where the Saints are right now. When you got guys who can win you a game possibly Sunday, but the next week they could probably throw 3 picks and not really execute at a high level. And so you got your hands tied. You go with Jameis, and that avenue still is there. You've seen the Taysom Hill experience. I don't think Saints fans want to go back to that for a full game. And so you really don't really have anywhere to turn to, especially if you're not going to get Kamara involved the way you did in that Raiders game. That's the type of way, if you're going to have an avenue to, execute, especially without Michael Thomas being gone for the year, Jarvis in and out of the lineup. You got to tip your cap to Olave. He seems the only kind of credible thing you see week in and week out. But when you don't have all those things, you got to put all the pressure on your running backs to really ball out and have a Joe Mixon type, performance that he had on Sunday. And that's just really, really hard to do in the NFL when they can double team guys and take things away from you. So for the Saints, I don't know where they go from here. It's crazy that they're still not mathematically eliminated to this point with the season they're having. But you got to keep going out there and keep fighting. They got a lot of leadership in that locker room, but this just looks like a bad football team to me right now.
Yeah, and you know me. I love the fact that in college baseball you're not cooked if you play 2 bad weeks, 3 bad weeks. Ole Miss really proved that. In basketball, you just unless you're Duke or you're Kentucky or Kansas, one of these teams is fighting for a number 1 seed because your destiny is the Final Four more often than not. Like you can play a couple bad weeks and figure it out and just get in. And so there's intrigue there, and that's what I love about it, where in college football, more often than not, you lose a couple of games, unless you're notwithstanding right now, and oftentimes kind of your goals are wiped off the table, and you got to kind of take it week to week. I would love to sit here as somebody who loves that aspect of college basketball and loves that aspect of college baseball where a couple bad weeks doesn't define you. But at this point, even my optimism in that vein looks at this Saints team and goes, man, you're 3-6, and I can start trying to count some halves that were good. 4th quarter against the Falcons, 4 quarters against the Seahawks that were pretty good, a nice effort through 3 quarters against the Bengals maybe, the Raiders game, but you're cherry picking. Mm-hmm. The body of work here in a league where everybody's hurt is pathetic. Like, it's just not good. And so I would still suggest they're not totally toast and you strap it up and go to Pittsburgh and go, but trying to have the attitude of, man, they just got to get a couple guys back and be healthy. It's piling up too much for me to try to give you that. And I would try. Yeah. Like, I promise I would try if I thought I could. It's just piling up, and the Raiders game seems more like an outlier than it seems like, oh, maybe the defense found something there.
Yeah, and I think when you're down here in Louisiana and Saints country, you have a tendency to look at the glass half full. Well, maybe this can happen, maybe this will happen. But when you're like me, you're not really a Saints fan, you can put the conventional wisdom glasses on and, kind of go back to past experience. And if I'm a guy in the NFL and I see the Saints coming up next week, I'm starting to almost marking that W. I'm getting the first couple, writings letter on it. We'll finish the W later on, but that's just kind of team they're playing like right now. They're not putting much fear in these coordinators and other teams and other players because it's just not been a great brand of football where they can string together quarters, string together halves, string together a full game of, playing at a high level. It just hasn't been that all season long. And even when you were more healthy than you were, you still were losing to bad football teams. And so I think for the Saints, I don't really know how much improvement you're going to see to this point in the season. I think kind of what you see is what you're going to get, especially kind of looking at the quarterback play and just, all the weapons he doesn't have on the outside. It's just, I don't really know how they kind of change this thing around and try to challenge for the NFC South, which is one of the worst divisions in football, which just goes to kind of show you the level of play that the Saints have played like this season.
Coming up, at the Steelers, home game with the Rams, at the Niners, at the Bucks, home game with Atlanta, at the Browns, at Philly on January 1st, and then finish things up with the Panthers in the Dome. It's very, very difficult to find a path to where the Saints can get to 8-9, which it might be good enough, but I don't think so. I think if you're a Saints fan, God bless you. Get ready to go again on Sunday with the Steelers and hope they win the football game, but it just doesn't appear to me that there's a path there for this black and gold team that doesn't play well, doesn't stay healthy, and those are pretty good recipe for losing a lot of games. And last night they just got smoked on their home field in the Dome. And you go back to what this Saints brand was built on over that 15-year run, where when you came in the Dome for a primetime game, you left embarrassed. You left, getting your tail whipped. And that's just not been the case now for a few years, and certainly wasn't last night as the Ravens win the ball game 27-13. We'll have Sharif Ishak in an hour from right now talking about the black and gold, a little bit of Pels. Where do the Saints go from here? Got our playoff prediction thoughts coming up at 1:45. What is the committee going to do tonight? But when we come back, I think the Heisman conversation shifted a lot last week. A lot of teams losing, a lot of teams winning, and big performances. Where do things shake out, and where does Jaden Daniels fit into that discussion? That's next on Hunt and Hill.
Hold down the middle of the day. This is Hunt and Hill.
Now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just sign up with promo code 1045 ESPN.
FanDuel's got all the bets that you're looking for. They got your money line bets. They got your point spread bets. They got your player prop bets as well, your Heisman prop bets, which we're about to get to here in the next segment. You can combine those bets for a chance at a bigger payout with that same game parlay. Best part, when you win, you get paid fast. It's all on an app that's safe, secure, super easy to use. So sign up today with the promo code 1045 ESPN for your no-sweat first bet. That is promo code 1045 ESPN. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. First online real money wager only. Refund issues, non-withdrawable free bets expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you're somebody who has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt and Hill. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
We get it done with strength, commitment, dedication, grit. Let's go, defense!
We get it done with passion for our fans
and love for our community.
We are the Tigers.
Get it done.
Let the values of the purple and gold be in your starting lineup this season. And as always, get it done.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% for 60 months on new 2022 Ford F-150s. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just
on Wednesdays, OTB, it's time to get ready for some new boot goofing with the boys. Can LSU take back the golden boot? Some flustering and a brand new Would You Rather Wednesday. Off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hope your Tuesday is going well. Looking for something to do tonight. Not sitting home watching election results, I guess. Coming out to Pluckers, Nicholson location, 8:30. We'll have some sports trivia. Be watching some sports on TV, playing sports trivia. You can win Pluckers gift cards, cold drinks, great food over at Pluckers on Nicholson. We are there every Tuesday at 8:30, and we will be there tonight. Heisman odds shifted a good bit, Jeremy. I think we're all aware on Saturday, Hendon Hooker could have put both hands around the Heisman Trophy in Athens. You go out there and light those guys up, take control of the East, knock off Bama and Georgia in the same year with impressive statistics. It would have been his, and he did not get it done. His team did not play great, but he missed some throws in that game that could have been huge early plays. And everybody was watching. The eyes of the nation were right there. So his odds back up a little bit to plus 300. C.J. Stroud becomes the odds-on favorite at plus 180. But there's one guy on this list, and I'll roll through him and see what you think. There's one guy on this list that I think is great value, and we'll see. But, again, C.J. Stroud plus 180, Hendon Hooker plus 300. Blake Corum of Michigan is at plus 600. Bo Nix has crept up to plus 800. That's where Caleb Williams is as well. Drake May is getting a lot of buzz for the draft. A little Heisman buzz as well, plus 1,200. Jaden Daniels, LSU quarterback, comes in next there at plus 1,600. He is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th. Stetson Bennett right there at plus 1,800. And Bryce Young is at plus 4,000 after their loss inside Tiger Stadium. Any of those numbers sound appealing to you for a $100 wager?
$100 wager. I like the Blake Corum one because I know he's going to get the ball every single Saturday there. Harbaugh's not going to run away from the run game like you've seen with a lot of programs do. He's going to stick to their bread and butter, and I think if they can find a way to go into the big shoe and win that football game, and he has a big-time game, I don't think there's going to be much in their way in the Big Ten championship. So that avenue for him is really there. I don't know if I love the Hooker one. If he could have got a way to get to the SEC championship and light that game up, I think you kind of have to give it to him there. But for me, I'm liking Corum a little bit. I'm kind of shifting a little JD5 here for $100. Kind of like the way that's looking right now.
Hooker's the spotlight's off Tennessee now. They're just everyone knows, and I think we'll talk about the playoff rankings here in the next segment. But I think Tennessee's okay in terms of where they sit for the playoffs right now. Okay, not great, but okay. But what they do, it doesn't matter. They're just going to beat some teams nobody cares about, and then you got to hope that you get some help. But I think this Caleb Williams plus 800 is interesting because statistically he's doing it right now. If you look, he's third in the country in touchdown passes with 28. He's also only thrown one interception. He is ninth in the country in yards passing. He's piling up the stats. I mean, you look at him to this point in the season, 2,742 yards, 28 touchdowns, and one interception. He's playing at a name brand school. You don't have to worry about that. And they've got some games moving forward that people could pay attention to, and they can certainly win their conference and be a factor for the college football playoff. He's a little bit off the radar right now because SC has been what they've been for the last 5-6 years. But everybody knows who he is. Everybody knows who his coach is. And the stats look really good. You win a couple of big games. I'm not saying he's the favorite. I would bet Bryce Young. I would bet C.J. Stroud before I would bet Caleb Williams. But plus 800 is a lot better than plus 180. So I didn't realize he had 28 touchdowns to one pick and was throwing for as many yards as he is. He's the only reason they're any good, and everybody knows that because they don't stop anybody. Yeah. But they score, and he's the reason.
No, he's a big part to do it, and I think USC's kind of been the exact opposite of what you've been seeing from that Tennessee program. When they lost to Utah, they got out of that spotlight. But I think anytime you got a game against Notre Dame, you got a game against UCLA, who's in the top 10, if you can kind of light the world on fire in those two games and go on to win the Pac-12, I think he's going to be right there. But if you got an undefeated Ohio State team, you just know how this thing works. Doesn't matter. They're going to put the undefeated quarterback in there. But, yeah, I think for Williams, what he's been doing all season has been absolutely incredible. That USC team, we just watched them last year with our boy, Dart and our boy Slovis. Not too hot. You put Williams in there, and he has him, right there to go win a Pac-12 title. So, yeah, I think that's great odds for a guy like Williams.
Where are you on Stetson Bennett? To this point in the season, he's thrown for 2,600 yards. He's completed 68% of his throws, 11 touchdowns, 3 picks. The stats don't jump, but Georgia's the best team in the country. He's the national championship winning quarterback. I think everyone's given him a little more due. He was really good in the game against Tennessee, 17 of 25, 257, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, had the big 13-yard touchdown run. He's the leader of the best team. You know, it's not there statistically, but there's a reason why he's the quarterback of the number 1 team in the country, and he's plus 1,800. There's a reason for that, but is there worth looking at?
Yeah, I think he's kind of fallen into that early Saban era when you had McCarron, you had John McElroy and stuff. They're going to look at the head coach and the team they're surrounded by. Those guys can be undefeated or have one loss, but it's going to look at the team. And I think Stetson's kind of fallen there when you got Brock Bowers at tight end. Like, I think if his stats were better, he'd be more in the Heisman conversation than Stetson would be. But I just think Stetson's in a bad spot right now. If he was the Tennessee quarterback or something like that and taking a team that had no business challenging for an SEC title, I think you see a lot more buzz, which is why Hooker's getting the buzz he's getting. But I think when you look at kind of Kirby, what he's done recruiting and that whole football team, I don't think Stetson's ever going to get the credit, especially since he's not putting like top 2, top 3 numbers up in college football right now.
All right. You know what it would take, and I don't know how likely it is, but would you be willing to put down $50 to win $800 on Jaden Daniels? Now, he'd have to go nuts in Fayetteville, do what you got to do in a UAB game, go to College Station that weekend and go play great. And then you'd have to go to Atlanta and throw for 415 and 4 touchdowns and run for another 80 on Georgia and win the league. That's what it would take.
Yeah.
But is it worth the look?
I mean, we've seen guys do it before. I think RG3 lost 3 games when he won the Heisman. I think Johnny Manziel lost 2, if not 3.
Yeah,
he lost 2 games when he won the Heisman. So we've seen it before. But like you said, those guys are just absolutely electric. And I think, you're going to have to finish the season, with that point. You do have the statement game against Bama. Obviously, the game-winning touchdown helps a ton with that. So you have the moments. Like, I feel like Heisman is, especially when you got journalists who writing stories and all the stuff, like they want those moments. They want those stories. And I think he has that, beating Alabama. But I think it's going to be how he kind of puts the nail in the coffin, finishing this season. And so, yeah, like you said, if he can light up Arkansas, I feel great about the Aggies. He may go for 200 rushing yards against the Aggies. So we'll see how that one plays out. But, he's going to have to finish the season strong and have a big-time game in Atlanta.
Oh, man. I can't even – it's 2 weeks away. And if LSU goes up to Fayetteville and doesn't win this game, I'm going to be a basket case on Thanksgiving week. I might not even be able to eat Thanksgiving dinner.
So what if Bama takes on Ole Miss? How bad would you feel?
Well, that's the point. Then we'd have to go to College Station and win to win the West. It's just I can't. I'll be a basket case. Everybody will be sitting there eating Thanksgiving, and I'll just be like, I'll probably go play golf or something. I can't. There's no way I can have A&M knock us out of Atlanta after this great story. If we can put it all to bed tonight. I mean, this weekend, if you can go to Fayetteville and win, and then Alabama beats Ole Miss, and then you're done. Then you got to go to. Then you got to. If you want to be in the playoff, you got to go beat Texas A&M. But if you just want to win the West, it's over. So I would prefer that if we could just get that done.
Maybe my cost for concern is way too low right now. I feel great about this Arkansas. I don't care about the weather. I don't care. Like, Arkansas isn't that team we saw preseason that was ranked so high. I think missing Burks hurts a ton. I know it's a sleepy game early and all that stuff, but from what I've seen from this football team all year, they've given me no reason to think. And I know that Tennessee game was a tough one, but they've given me no reason to think that they're going to go out there and lay down. And I feel good about this one. So we'll see how it plays out, but I feel good.
All right. Let's get to our college football playoff picks for tonight to close up hour number 1. I teased this at the top of the show. Do it one more time. I've got a question for Jeremy about this LSU football team coming up at 2 o'clock. I did a lot of research on it. I just want Jeremy's off-the-cuff thoughts on it. We'll get into a discussion. So big-time LSU football talk coming up in 15 minutes. When we come back to close out hour number 1, what do we think the committee does tonight? It's Hunt and Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
Reliable Roofing and Construction. Find them at reliableroofing.br.com.
Yeah, so I have to tell you guys about Reliable Roofing, a family-run, owned, and operated residential roofing company. They've been in business since 2008 with over 30 years of roofing experience.
You deserve the options that they're able to give you in terms of the shingles. You deserve the highest quality of shingles. Reliable Roofing and Construction guarantees that. They also guarantee they're going to give you a 5-year labor warranty on every job that they do. Lionel Hayes, born and raised in Baton Rouge, started his business in Baton Rouge, going to be in Baton Rouge for the long haul, wants to serve the Baton Rouge community at Reliable Roofing and Construction. So if you need roofing needs, whether it's an inspection, whether it's a repair, whether it's a full roof replacement, Reliable Roofing and Construction can do that. If your homeowner's insurance carrier is moving out of town, they don't want any part of Louisiana anymore, so somebody else has got to come cover your home, and they don't like the way your roof looks, it happens. It's part of the insurance game. Reliable Roofing and Construction can be there to help you to get that new roof on your home and to get that insurance placed. Reliable Roofing and Construction. Find the website, reliableroofingbr.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Miller Lite has more taste and only 1 more calorie than Michelob Ultra.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $11,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% for 72 months on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25%.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. We'll recap Saints, Ravens from Monday Night Football. Peter Burns recaps an epic weekend in BR. Sean Salisbury's here, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, it's Tuesday. That means college football playoff rankings coming out. I'll give you last week's top 6, and then we'll give you our predictions for what they will do tonight. Last week it was Tennessee in the 1 spot, Ohio State at 2, Georgia at 3, Clemson at 4, Michigan at 5, and Bama at 6. By now you know. Number 1, Tennessee, lost. Number 4, Clemson, lost. Number 6, Alabama, lost. So there's going to be a shakeup at the top. And again, I've been pretty adamant about this. I don't think it matters too much. This committee has shown year over year they are willing to make switches at the last second on this thing based on putting the entire body of work together. So just because they feel like a one-loss Tennessee is better or worse than an undefeated TCU tonight, that doesn't mean they're going to feel the same way when everything's done at the end of this month. So I think people overreact to this. I think it's a lot of talking points for people, and people want to get upset. I think it's fun to guess what they're going to do, and that's the exercise we're going to do. You're never going to hear me, well, very rarely, if ever, going to hear me come on here and rant and rave about what the selection committee does in early November, because it doesn't matter. That's what matters is what they do at the end. So I'll give you my thoughts on what I think they're going to do tonight. Georgia's going to be number one. We know that. That was just so impressive. They've now gotten 2 cracks at big-time opponents, Oregon and Tennessee, who both only have 1 loss, and they've just trucked both of them. They'll be number 1. Ohio State continues to hold serve. Is it gorgeous? No. I think they will have them at 2. I think Michigan is going to move up to 3. It was a bad half, but they ran away from Rutgers eventually. I got some skins on the wall from last year. I think they're going to put them there. This is where I think it gets a little bit interesting, and I'll just throw a guess out there for discussion purposes. I think they're going to leave Tennessee there at 4 because they were not impressed with undefeated TCU last week, and all TCU did was beat a mediocre Texas Tech team. Now, you go to Austin, and they sell that place out in game days there, and you win by 14, 17 points. All right, we'll talk about it. But I don't think Texas Tech moves the needle. I think if I'm the committee, I say, yeah, Tennessee, you've looked really good all year. You went to Athens, toughest place in the country to play right this very second, and you weren't good enough. But I think most teams would go in there and get beat just the same. So I'm going to leave them at 4. I'll put TCU at 5 and Oregon at 6. That's what my guess is. Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, Tennessee, TCU, Oregon.
Yeah, a little different. Most of the same teams, though. I obviously got Georgia number 1. I think that was, a lot of the country. Vegas always wins. They're laying down on the balls right there, and obviously a great time home environment for them to get the job done. Really win in dominant fashion. 2, I actually went with Michigan. I went with Michigan at 2. To me, just been more impressive to me than this Ohio State team, who really, have that win over Notre Dame. Don't know how much that's going to mean by the end of the season, and they beat Penn State. Really sleepy through most of that game, really not impressive. And to me, only beat Northwestern by 2 touchdowns. So the winds were gusting a little bit there. I got to bump Ohio State.
See some of the pregame video from that?
Yes,
guys were kicking
insane.
Field goals, and they're just floating like ducks.
Yeah, that was insane. But I think for me, Michigan's just been slightly more impressive. So I got to put them at 2. 3, I got Ohio State. And 4, I actually went with a little change up here. I actually went with TCU. Because I think, being undefeated and potentially winning your conference, I think they would get that nod over that 1-loss Tennessee teams. Everything kind of stays the way it is right now. So I went with TCU at 4. 5, I went with actual Tennessee. Really, like you said, really impressive season thus far. I think if you ask any Tennessee fan, we're going to hold Georgia to 27 points. Can the offense deliver us from evil? I think they all would have took that and thought that offense could at least get them to 28 or 30. So, yeah, I think for Tennessee, I got them at 5. And who would have thought? The Bo Nix show right there at 6. He's having an incredible year. You got to give credit where it's due. I think after watching that first game, to think he'd turn that season around and have them challenging for a Pac-12 title, it'd be really tough to make that argument. But Bo's been playing absolutely incredible, and they're being coached well by the former Georgia defensive coordinator.
I know your feelings on Cincinnati last year.
Mm-hmm.
So just hypothetical here. TCU runs the table. They now have wins. They would have wins over Oklahoma, Kansas, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, Texas, Baylor, Iowa State, and whoever they would play in the Big 12 championship. We'll call it 2 wins over Texas. Tennessee is 11-1 with a win over Alabama, win over Pitt, loss at Georgia. Who would you, I don't care what anyone else in the committee says, you put in the playoff?
Well, with the current playoff dynamic, I thought they were picking the best 4 teams in the country. So for me, I would have to, value, the schedule that Tennessee played through, the ranked opponents. I think by the end of this, TCU's going to have a rank win over Texas. Like, that's going to be really all they can point to. And Texas, they have 3 losses right now. So, yeah, I'm definitely going Tennessee over TCU in that scenario for sure, because I'm going to actually put in the 4 best teams in the country, which is why you've seen some SEC teams make it with 1 loss and no conference title.
No love for TCU beating Oklahoma State in overtime?
No.
I got 3 losses now. But I mean,
yeah, no.
So the same question for Oregon. Oregon played Georgia, lost by 40. Tennessee went to Athens. It was not that competitive, but it looks like 2 scores.
It's the same thing that happened to Virginia Tech many, many years ago, about 15 years ago, right there in Death Valley. You kind of get blown off the field. It's going to be tough to think that you're going to play with some of the 3 best teams in the country and really have that avenue. I guess if they run the table over a 1-loss Tennessee team, no way. No, I'm putting Tennessee in.
And by the way, just food for thought as we sit here in the first week of November, just a little food for thought. What if LSU opens the season with a game against South Alabama or ULM instead of Florida State? Where do things sit right now? You got to win over Ole Miss. You got to win over Alabama. I'll tell you where you'd be. You'd be in the top 3.
Yeah, for sure.
But you're not, because everybody wants to play the big tough games. Everybody thinks those are fun. And everybody hates the Patsy games. Just telling you.
Yeah, you
put losses on your schedule.
Yeah,
it can come back to bite you. Happened to Virginia Tech that year. I'm just saying. If we played South Alabama, we'd be in front driver's seat to go to the playoff. But we didn't. All right, we'll be back for hour 2. Talking Tiger football. It's Hunt and Hill.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Enter now for a chance to win a catch and cook fishing experience from the Louisiana Charter Boat Association with me, Chef Jay Ducote, winner of Beat Bobby Flay. Register now at gocatch.com. That's GEAUX catch.com.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I'm Christine Lisi. Bills quarterback Josh Allen continues to undergo testing and evaluation for an elbow injury to his UCL and related nerves, according to ESPN's Chris Mortensen. Team hopes to know more about him tomorrow. Buffalo currently the 1 seed in the AFC, and while home field advantage this postseason is valuable, having Allen as close to 100% as possible means even more to the Bills, believes ESPN's Dominique Foxworth.
Honestly, at this point, I could care less about the first round bye or the seeding or going on the road. And I know the decisions are never this clear, but if the decision was we have to go on the road for all the playoffs, but we rest Josh Allen and he's 100% healthy, or he's 80% healthy and we get the first round bye, give me 100% and we'll go on the road. I think he and they are that good that they'd rather have that.
Dominique Ongrini. The NFL, with its first TV flex of the season, moved to November 20th, the Chiefs-Chargers game to 8:20 Eastern, with the Bengals-Steelers matchup moving to 4:25 Eastern. Latest college football rankings unveiled tonight, 7 Eastern ESPN TV. Some shuffling at the top will come following a wild Week 10, which included losses by Tennessee and Clemson.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
1, 2, 3. Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hour 2 on a Tuesday. Hunt and Hill. Hope your Tuesday is going great. We're here with you every single weekday from 1 to 3 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. You know, Jeremy, when you do 10 hours of live radio every week, every once in a while, you have a thought and you say something on the air, and then you come off the air and you go, wait a second, that's not right. And some people just carry on and act like they never said anything. I generally like to revisit things and go, wait a second, that's not exactly right. What I said at the end of the hour was, if we'd have started the season with South Alabama, you'd be in a much different situation. That's actually not true. I was wrong. I just said it off the cuff. I thought having one loss would be significantly better in the moment as we're just kind of having a conversation. And then immediately when we go off, I go, no, that's not exactly true. Because if you had one loss to Tennessee and you had not lost a non-conference game and you went to Atlanta and lost to Georgia, you're not going to get in as a 2-loss team at that point with no conference championship. Mm-hmm. Even so, if you right now are a 2-loss team and you go beat Arkansas and UAB and A&M and Georgia, I believe you are in as a 2-loss conference champs, just as you would be as a 1-loss conference champ. So as far as the playoff goes, that season opening game that LSU played, I don't think is going to matter. Now, you can maybe go paint me some chaos picture where Ohio State's lost to Indiana and Michigan's lost to Purdue and TCU's lost 2 games. Sure, I can go pull a bunch of stuff and figure that out. That's actually kind of what happened in 2007, where everything just fell apart over the last 2 weeks. But it really probably doesn't matter. Now, it may matter as far as the Sugar Bowl goes, because the top-ranked team from the SEC that's not in the playoff would go to the Sugar Bowl, whether that's Tennessee, whether that's LSU, however things shake out over the next couple of weeks. Maybe the college football playoff ranking, but I don't think it does matter for the top 4. Do you disagree with anything I've just said?
I thought that whole talk was just about tonight's rankings.
Yeah, it was, but then I deviated off that. It's like, oh, well, what if they did? What if they played South Alabama?
Yeah.
And then right when we went off the air, I went, wait a second,
Yeah,
Nope,
I thought we were
that's
just
not right.
I thought we were just talking
Yeah.
about, where would we be, because I mean you were 10 last week with 2 losses, so I thought we
Yeah.
were saying if you're going into this week with 1 loss and a win over Bama,
Yeah.
you're definitely going to be in the top spot. But I think I was just talking to my man Adam Hall in the Bite for Chat. He's like, yeah, it doesn't matter because you got to win out. Well, Ohio State has to win out, Michigan has to win out, Georgia, every team is in the same boat. You're not losing your last 3 games and getting to the college football playoff. So I think that's pretty standard there.
Georgia may be able to lose the SEC championship game in a tight one. Maybe. Again, there's a
They just
lot of
did it last year.
variables. Yeah, there are a lot of variables. Yeah, that's exactly what happened last year. So, Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler, that nightcap recap on the private plane that we all saw from Saturday night, they both said, yeah, Georgia's in. They're in, because Georgia Tech's got no chance to beat them. You don't feel like Kentucky's going to beat them. So,
What about the Fighting Bulldogs? Pirate in the crew.
I don't think so. But we'll dive into all that as it comes. I wanted to ask Jeremy a question that I thought of this morning in prepping for the show, and I wanted to dig up a ton of numbers on it. But the question is open-ended. What's LSU's weakness as a football team right now? Not the team that showed up in the Superdome for Florida State, not the team that played week 3 or 4. Right now, as they're constituted, what is LSU's weakness?
Well, I guess it's not a stat you could point to, but I would say depth on the defensive line. I think that's something that, watching that game, especially late in that game, you really only have three defensive tackles you really trust, and 3 defensive ends you really trust. You got Ollie Gay, you got BJ, and then you're kind of putting Perkins in there a little bit. And I think that's something that's kind of going to hurt this team if they can't play lights out football. You just saw them get tired in the fourth quarter. And then also I would say, scoring touchdowns early in football game. I know you scored 7 in the first half last week, but it's kind of been something that's kind of been wavy a little bit, up and down when you kind of look at the full season for this team. And what's great is they're a great second half team. The scoring differentials is absolutely crazy when you kind of look at that. But to me, I kind of say that the depth up front with that D-line, and also just not really scoring touchdowns early.
When I started thinking about, and you're right, the depth on the defensive line and some of the starts they've gotten off to, and special teams at times, there are some things you could point to say they haven't been great at that. But over the last, certainly the Ole Miss game, the Alabama game, none of those significant problems have really cropped up. And I started thinking about them going, I can't think of anything they're incredible at or have just otherworldly talent at, or anything that they just suck at that I know is going to cost them another game. So I listen to all these stats I pulled. I'm not going to go through them, but here's all the categories of statistics that I looked at. Scoring offense, rushing offense, passing offense, total offense, third down conversion rate, red zone scoring, red zone touchdown percentage, pass protection, scoring defense, run defense, pass defense, total defense, third down defense, red zone touchdown defense, tackles for loss. I looked at all these statistics from a national perspective and from an SEC perspective. LSU is in the top 2 in the conference in one of those stats. Red zone defense touchdowns allowed. So the defense allows touchdowns. Only Georgia allows fewer when teams get into the red zone. Everything else, they're pretty mediocre. Total offense, 6th in the conference. Total defense, 5th in the conference. Third down defense, 8th in the conference. Scoring offense, 5th in the conference. Red zone scoring percentage in the conference, they're ranked 7th. Like, they're in the middle of the league in just about everything. So they're not great at anything, statistically speaking. They're not awful at anything, statistically speaking. And they're really not making that many huge mistakes now. Now, they made huge mistakes against Florida State. Muffed a couple of points. Didn't necessarily cost you any points. Muffed a couple of punts. Didn't cost you points, but cost you possession. You got field goal blocked, extra point blocked. Huge mistakes. Against Tennessee, you made huge mistakes. You muff a punt. But they haven't done that over the last couple of weeks, and they've just been rock solid. Does that, as I read the statistics out and tell them to you, does that surprise you? Would you think they'd be towards the top of the league in something that they're not?
No, not really. I think because you've seen just back and forth play. It's not kind of what you've kind of seen from Georgia or some of these other teams where the defense is just dominant week in and week out, or the offense is just dominant week in. And we've seen this team score 13 points. We've seen this team have 5 passing yards and a half. We've also seen this team rush for 200 on certain people. So when you kind of get those back and forths on both sides of the ball, not even mentioning special teams, that's probably where you're going to end up. Rather, if you kind of just stick to being bad all year, then you'll be at the bottom half of the league, and then vice versa. If you're just totally dominating, you'll probably be in one of those top 3 categories. So that's about what I expect kind of when you kind of look at the full picture of this football team from when SEC play started, up and down, up and down. But I think the way they've been playing these past 4 weeks is something that, when you look at the end of the season, I wouldn't be shocked if they're a lot higher than they are right now.
There are 2 statistics in the conference where one you're 13th and one you're 14th. LSU is 13th, so second worst in the league in terms of getting sacked. They've been sacked 32 times. That's dead next to last in the league. In terms of that statistic, Florida had 1 sack against LSU. Ole Miss had 4. Tennessee had 5. Bama had 6. You've had some issues there, but part of that is your offensive line. Part of that is your quarterback is not putting the ball in harm's way. He's just taking a sack. He's not going to do something dumb when he gets hit or when he's in trouble. He's just kind of gotten sacked. So there's some good and bad there. We do want him to take some shots with the wide receivers, but at times he's just taking the safe route and taking a sack. The other thing, you're dead last in the conference in terms of tackles for loss on defense. You're 14th in creating tackles for loss. That surprised me a little bit because I think LSU's defensive front has played pretty well. I guess they're just not making plays behind the line of scrimmage very often.
Yeah, probably need Glenn Dorsey to do that. I'm sure Mason Smith probably help with that a little bit too. So, yeah, I think for me, the sack numbers really don't really move me that much anytime. You may be taking some, but you're also going to pop some out for 25-yard runs or pop some out for 30-yard runs. So it kind of evens out a little bit there. And then you got to factor in you do have 2 freshmen starting tackles on the outside and a quarterback, like you said, who really doesn't turn the ball over at a high clip. And I think that with the execution you've been having, you scored 32 last week, 45 the week before, 45 the week before that. I'll take those sack numbers as bad as they may be right now.
And so I gave you the conference stats, and they're all right there in the middle. And nationally, LSU's between like 16 and 40 in like everything. It's just 29th in scoring offense, 39th in scoring defense, 26th in red zone. I mean, it's just, you get the point. I'm not going to roll through the entire thing, but what you've just got is a team that across the board pretty much kind of does its job. Would you like to have something that you just knew you were showing up to the ballpark and they were going to be in big trouble with? Maybe that's the quarterback running. It's not a stat. Like the quarterback's just a dynamic athlete that makes you. And so I wouldn't suggest that this paints the entire picture, but I do find it interesting that when I thought about, okay, what's the weakness here? I couldn't come up with one that was stark. Yeah, Tennessee ran it down your throats. I got you. Yeah, Jordan Travis on third downs lit you up. I see that. Yeah, your running back play has not been dynamic, but none of it is like crippling. Like you just you can't cover anybody, or you never get a pass rush, or your quarterback throws an interception every single game out there. Like there's just not one Achilles that I could fall to. So it's 6 1/2 dozen the other. It's a team that's just kind of rock solid across the board, which in year one of this coaching staff and what he had to do, I guess it's pretty impressive that when you had 36 scholarship guys and now you look back in the middle of November and you look at the team you put up there, they don't have any gross weaknesses. That's pretty impressive.
No, it is. And I think obviously when you lose your best defensive player in the first game of the season and then you have offensive linemen in and out of the lineup, receivers missing time, backs missing time, and, all these things going on, which you kind of see the Saints not be able to figure out. I think Coach Kelly has done a phenomenal job with kind of all the missing pieces that you may have on any given week, but continuing having this team ready to play. And then you got to give more credit to just what they've done in a lot of second halves in these football games. Is really playing dominant brand of football and finding ways to win, which is definitely a great time to see in year one. So looking at the full picture, may not be a team that's top 1, top 2, top 3 in categories, but they're very competitive, and I'm sure a lot of teams just want to go play this version of the LSU Tigers.
No question about it. Start talking a little more about LSU. Moving forward, Sharif Ishak with us in 15 minutes. You're listening to a Tuesday edition of Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
LWCC is Louisiana Loyal, elevating and celebrating champions of Louisiana right here on Hunt and Hill all November long. We are telling you about Molly Kimball.
Yeah, Molly Kimball is a registered dietitian, nutrition journalist, and founder of Ochsner Eat Fit, created in 2013 as a resource for all things wellness. Eat Fit is a nonprofit initiative of Ochsner Health that works to make healthy choice the easy choice through collaborative partnership with restaurants, markets, and other food establishments.
Yeah, Molly's done such a great job with Eat Fit on two different levels. One, it obviously does a great job for our state in terms of keeping people healthy, finding options on the menu that people can eat, enjoy, and they're healthy for them. And on the other side of that, you go to these restaurants and you see the Eat Fit logo on the menu, and people want to come back because they understand they can get that, something that's delicious and it's good for you. That helps the economy as well. That's why LWCC has chosen to honor Molly as a champion of Louisiana this month. Her passion is helping keep people live their healthiest and strongest lives while setting an example herself. And she does that through some other ventures like her weekly podcast and her weekly TV segment on WGNO. If you know somebody like Molly, some business or nonprofit that's doing awesome work in the state of Louisiana, let us tell their story. We really, really want to do that. LWCC giving us that opportunity. Go to lwcc.com/Louisiana Loyal and nominate someone, some entity, something as a champion of Louisiana so that we can tell their story here on Hunt and Hill. LWCC is Louisiana Loyal.
Professional golfers John Peterson and JJ Colleen answer all your golf and life questions inside the new Drop Biscuit Studios podcast for the people. Download or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com.
I am Juliette, daughter of Marguerite, granddaughter of Gabrielle Piera. I come from a line of strong women who knew struggle and success too. Still, I was scared by my breast cancer diagnosis, but I had Blue Cross coverage, which meant I got care from top doctors. I'm strong like my mother and her mother before her. The right card, the right care.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located...
Jimmy out and Mike Delicano for the Tuesday evening edition of Game Time, presented by Bet Rivers. We're at Mike Anderson's on Lee, just off of Nicholson. That's Game Time, presented by Bet Rivers, 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Sharif Ishak, WDSU, with us in 12 minutes talking black and gold. Last night obviously did not go so hot. So let's start talking about LSU again here in this segment, Jeremy. Look, I don't know what the guys in the locker room thought. You gave your thoughts in August that, hey, there's nobody in that locker room that thinks they're ever going to lose a football game. And that's a healthy way to think about things. But that's, talking heads that are trying to be informative here and give an opinion. At times, we don't necessarily agree with that. And so now you found yourself in a position here on the 8th of November to control your own destiny and to win the Southeastern Conference Western Division with a little help on Saturday. You're coming off one of the greatest environments in the history of Tiger Stadium, an incredibly exhilarating win off the bye week, and then you got to refocus. And that's really hard, I think, sometimes for 18, 19, 20-year-olds to do. This is a pad-popping day here on a Tuesday. Where do you think their mind is at this point?
Yeah, that's an extreme emotional high. I think it's really hard to come down from that. Kind of when we all know in Baton Rouge that game's going to be circled no matter the records of the team. It's just something about that program, no matter where they are, no matter where we are. You just want to beat that team. And when you kind of accomplish that and you just see the emotions of everyone in the stadium, the players, the coaches, everyone involved with this football program, it's really hard to get ready for the Arkansas Razorbacks at 11 o'clock. But listen to Coach Kelly. I think he's done this plenty of times. And Kieran, just their approach to this and practicing outside in January and February, it strikes me as a guy who's probably done this a few times. He's probably gotten ready for a few college football seasons before, and he's been in this spot before. Anytime you've been to multiple national championship games. So these are the games you have to win. If you want to be respected as a ranked team in this country, a good football team in this country, these are the games you just can't afford to lose. And I think all the players in that locker room knows what's at stake here. You can't kind of do the things you want to do this season, losing to an average Arkansas football team. And really, when you're flying high and playing as well as you are, the last thing you want to do is kind of shut off that momentum and start playing kind of how you had in some early spots this season. So I think they'll be ready to go. Especially kind of watching them lose to Liberty. It's just I still can't.
I don't even think that hurts. I think it hurts.
It definitely hurts. But I think seeing that, it kind of sometimes give you that Superman ability. Like, oh yeah, we got to win in there and run these guys off the field. But if I know Arkansas the way they do, they're going to get up, because the last thing you feel as a football player is when you lose a game you have no business losing. That next week you're going to give it everything you have, and getting a ranked LSU coming into town, you're going to get a good punch from Arkansas. But I think if you can kind of take that first punch and punch back and really show them that you guys are really that bad, and kind of get some scores on them, I think they'll have their way with this football team, especially the way they've been playing these last 3 weeks.
This tendency that I have, that I try to look at both sides of everything, and I can really feel strongly on both sides of this LSU mental mindset. I can easily see LSU understanding the situation they've put themselves in and being like, man, we're going to be 7th in the playoff rankings this weekend. We got to win 2 more games to win the SEC West. Like, hell yeah. Like, let's go. Like, we got a chance to do something special here. Like, let's get fired up and let's go to work. We're coming off 2 wins. We're playing great. We're ready to roll. I can see that. I can also see, man, Arkansas got beat by Liberty. It is 37 degrees. They woke me up at 5 o'clock this morning. It's 11 o'clock a.m. There's 75% of the stadium here. What? I mean, like, and then all of a sudden you're down 10-0. It can go like that, especially for a team that's had some slow starts in its day. So both of these are very easy for me to see. We'll just have to find out on Saturday which one trumps.
Yeah, I can tell you there's going to be 2 guys on that defense that'll be ready to play. I think Fouché will be ready to play. I think Brooks will be ready to play. They're going to want to stick it to their other team, and they got a cornerback on the outside that these receivers probably don't mind catching a few touchdown passes on. So I think if you got kind of some of that former flavor from some guys that came there, some guys from here went there. And so these guys are going to want to compete there, but it's a whole football team, and I think, as a football team, you got to play well all together. Can't go back to the special teams you've seen from the past, especially on the road and that environment that I think they got a ranked LSU team coming into town for the Battle of the Boot. And so I think that fan base will be ready. I think that Arkansas team will be ready. But, if they get the version of LSU that's played the way they have the past 3 weeks, I don't think, where Arkansas is right now, they should be able to find a way to win that football game. But I think, their mindset is going to be very important in a week like this because you can kind of sleep through UAB, but this is an Arkansas team who still does have talent. They still have a back that can rush for 200 yards, and they got a quarterback who won't turn it over and is a load running the ball. So you can't just sleep through this game and think you're going to come out on top. You got to bring your big boy britches and try to have a big-time game.
Look, the Arkansas team that showed up against Mississippi State, the Arkansas team that showed up against Liberty, if those Arkansas teams show up, LSU's going to whitewash them. But the team that showed up on offense to play BYU, the team that played in the second half against Alabama, the team that really physically dominated South Carolina, that's a game opponent. I'm not here telling you they're world beaters, and they've got some injuries, and I don't even know if KJ Jefferson's going to play. We'll have to see what the week of practice goes like. Sam Pittman will meet with the teleconference tomorrow. Probably won't say much, although I do listen to him most weeks, and he's a little more forthcoming than most with injuries. Like, oh, yeah, he's got this and this. Some guys are just like, we don't talk about it. Josh Heupel, that ain't happening. I mean, Cedric Tillman, they asked about Cedric Tillman 5 weeks in a row, day to day. I mean, 5 weeks in a row. So Pittman is a little more forthcoming. We're going to have an Arkansas media guest on Thursday's show to see if we can get a little bit of update there. But he's really banged up. And I can tell you that the Arkansas fan base is losing a lot of steam here. And, you know, it's going to be cold in that stadium. Sometimes as Arkansas fans say, good, it's cold. LSU hates the cold. We're going to get in there and get after them. That's what they got their first SEC win under Brett Bielema when they shut LSU out with Leonard Fournette and Brandon Harris out there on the field, and it was like 25 degrees. But I'm probably done for this year forecasting players to quit. Sometimes we talk about it. I made a lot about that. I thought Auburn may fold if you punch them in the mouth. Well, the opposite happened, so what do we know? But they haven't. They've played hard every single night. LSU, the last 2 years down the stretch, had quote-unquote nothing to play for and won some games late against Florida and Ole Miss and A&M. And A&M's still playing really hard. They don't have many players left, but they're giving it everything they've got. So I think you're going to get Arkansas's best shot on Saturday. Their best shot hasn't been very good the last couple of weeks, and LSU's has been really good. But I think I wanted to have this segment on Tuesday because Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we got a lot to talk about with this LSU team and with the matchup with Arkansas. But today, from a mental mindset, I'm just curious as a former player where you think these guys are with an 11 o'clock tip-off in cold temperatures by our standards against a team that's coming off a Liberty loss. It scares the heck out of me.
Yeah, I think I think they'll be fine. And Coach Kelly's done this all season long. Wake the players up early Saturday mornings, go through a walkthrough. So they're used to waking up early. They've been doing that all season long. They practice outside. I know that Baton Rouge cold in January and February isn't what it is in Arkansas, but you know they've done those workouts. This is a coach that's as well prepared as you can see in college football, and you're seeing that with the play Saturday after Saturday. So I think this is going to be ready to play. I think JD5 kind of got this thing figured out. The defense, I just don't see that. I think the over for this game, 63.5. I don't know if they're going to score. It's going to be hard pressing me to see that Arkansas offense scoring 30-plus points on this defense, the way they're playing, the weapons they have on the outside. It's not Traylon Burks out there, and so I don't see that. So I think the team will come ready to play, and I don't think you're going to have that sleepy, team that kind of walks through this game and, they're in a down 17 points like they were at Auburn. I just think it's just an entirely different football team, and I think they know what's at stake. They'll be ready to play.
I will find this stat before the end of the week. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So here's one. In the last 4 seasons, Brian Kelly at Notre Dame as a favorite was undefeated outside of one game. They were a 1-point favorite at Michigan and lost that game. So he's been really good as a betting favorite winning the football game. Maybe there's something to that. Maybe it's a little bit of coincidence, but it would be pretty easy to look at those numbers and say, hey, even when they play teams that aren't that great, he's got them ready to go, and they end up winning the football game. I don't give a rip if they win by 30 or by 3 on Saturday. Yeah. Whatever it takes on Saturday to get it done, I am all for it. And then you sit back and watch Ole Miss and Alabama and see if you can't win the West outright with 2 weeks left in the season. That would be a heck of an accomplishment for this team. So we'll see. That's going to be a huge storyline all week. I'm sure the players are going to get a bunch of questions about it coming up today from the media, and I'm sure Brian Kelly will get some of it moving forward from the teleconference or the media availability on Thursday. It's, hey, how do you get off the mat and get these guys ready to roll? You would think when it rattles around that much and everyone's that cognizant of it, it would come through and the guys would understand the task ahead of them, but you still got to go out there and execute against an SEC team. So lots more to get to on LSU and Arkansas over the next 3 days, but We'll take a timeout, come back with Sharif Ishak talking about the debacle that has been the Saints season thus far. It's Hunt and Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
Bayou Ford, we love telling you about our friends down there at Bayou Ford. Ben and Leah Gagne and the crew making it happen at Bayou Ford. Check out the website, BayouFord.com. The first thing you're going to see is Don't Settle. Jeremy's going to tell you about all the awesome ways you can check out the inventory online. But if you don't see something you like, then that's fine. They'll customize a car for you. They can do that and have that car turn around in 60 to 90 days and driven right to your front door. So don't settle just because they don't have exactly what you want. They'll get it, but there's a good chance they got something good for you, Jeremy.
Yeah, head over to BayouFord.com. They've got a new special tab that updates daily. It's complete with a photo of the vehicle and all the savings you can score, as well as a video profiling all of its features. Don't see anything you love? That's okay. Keep coming back because those deals will update on the site as Bayou Ford rolls them out. It's all right there at BayouFord.com.
Love to hear BayouFord.com. Every single new purchase at Bayou Ford gets a 1,000,000-mile powertrain warranty. Bayou Ford, the website's BayouFord.com, which you know by now. Bayou Ford, they're going to do right by you.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the NBA.
On Wednesdays, OTB, it's time to get ready for some new boot goofing with the boys. Can LSU take back the golden boot? Some flustering and a brand new Would You Rather Wednesday. Off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
I hurt myself
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Oh, wow. The vibes, they're not great. Get out of New Orleans. Sharif Ishak, WDSU. Sharif, how we doing?
If I told you in August that the Saints season would be pretty much over on November 8th and LSU and Tulane will be playing for their respective conference championships, I would have been fired from my job.
No, you would have been a prophet. It's look, I mean, that's the beauty of having multiple teams in multiple sports. Sometimes it goes really well, sometimes it does not, and it's just not for the Saints. First of all, how was the crowd in the Dome last night? On TV, it sounded pretty good early while the Saints still had a puncher's chance.
I was making this reference to somebody. I was like, man, this is back-to-back years where I have seen the opposing fans take over the Dome.
Yeah.
It truly is a shame, to be honest with you. And it's not the fans' fault. It's the product on the field. We saw the Buffalo Bills do it last year. Thanksgiving game, I mean, it's Buffalo, it's cold in, November. Ravens fans, they always travel. I mean, they traveled well last night. Give them credit. I mean, they got a good team. And it was just ugly. And I can give you no positives from that game.
Yeah, that would be tough for sure. Your thoughts on Dennis Allen's comments after the game? I know they weren't smiled upon by many around here. I don't know how you sugarcoat it, but it was it's a bad day at the office. We're moving the ball pretty well. I think we'll be just fine.
Listen, the Baltimore Ravens have notoriously just been a bad mismatch for the Saints. It's just a bad matchup, I should say, for the Saints. It's one of those teams that just can't, have that much success against the defense. I mean, they're faster, they're stronger, they're way more physical. Dennis Allen said it's the most physical team they've played so far this season, and honestly, it's probably going to be the most physical team they play this season. They just beat you up. They absolutely decimated the offensive line. And Andy Dalton, who's a statue back there, had no chance. He got 3 balls batted. He was running for his life, sacked 4 times. You ain't winning any football games like that. If your offense can't stay on the field, your defense is just going to get torched by the guy they could have drafted in 2018 instead moved up, gave up 2 first-round picks for Marcus Davenport. He had a good look at Lamar Jackson last night. So, when your defense is on the field for 65 plays in almost 40 minutes, you got no chance. You got really no chance against Lamar Jackson if you're on the field for 40 minutes.
Shame I have to ask this, but I'm going to do it. My man, sure, it's tough times for Saints fans. But when you got guys like Dan Orlovsky preseason, thinking the Saints are actually NFC contenders, did you think the brown paper bags would be a reality for Saints fans this season?
I think we're getting to that point where some fans are going to don those paper bags again. I mean, Dan isn't the only one. He had a lot of national people picking them to be the number 1 seed. I picked them to win 10 games. I don't even know if they can win 5 games right now. And that's just how bad it is. It is just an absolute mess. The offense looks messy. The defense looks messy. Blake Gillikin shanking punts. I mean, coaching hasn't been great. There isn't anything good you can say. They regressed tremendously from that Raiders game in all phases. It has been something that, they're just not consistent at all. I mean, they haven't won back-to-back games at home since the 2020-10 season, weeks 10 and 11, and back-to-back games just in general since they closed out last season, last 2 games. And they got a lot of fixing to do. I mean, I'm just going to say, I think a lot of people can't wait for the season to be over. That's just how bad it is, just like watching that. Hate saying it, but it's just bad. It's a bad product.
Well,
they got a lot of fixing to do.
What is fixable? What can they get better at?
Unfortunately, their cap is a mess. It's going to be hard to navigate for the next 2 years. You're not firing your head coach unless something crazy happens. You're not going to fire your head coach after 1 season. Dennis is 11-34 as a head coach between the Saints and Raiders. It just has not worked out. The thing that I keep saying is stop trying to recreate 2009 and Sean Payton. Sean Payton is a one of one. You can't recreate that. He is his own person. He is his own genius. Maybe you have to do some different things. I'm not saying you have to fire Dennis Allen. You have to make some kind of other changes. Stop living in the glory days. Those glory days are over with. Time to look through the windshield. Stop looking through the rearview mirror and trying to recreate everything. They've got to find a way to have a fresh concept with this team. I don't know how they're going to do it cap-wise. Can't, really trade Mike Thomas. The hit against the cap. Some of the other guys, the big hit against the cap. I mean, your only real asset is right now, who's one of your veterans is Alvin Kamara, of the veterans. You want to trade him? I don't know what you're going to get, because he has a looming suspension possibly for him.
So what's fixable on this team then? Not the future, just on this team. What can they get better at in the next 3 weeks?
Wow. I mean, I've probably time to change quarterbacks. At this point, I'd let Taysom play quarterback. They're not going to go to Jameis. It's time to let Taysom play some quarterback. At least he's a dual threat. You can create some problems. The issue there is he going to be able to go through his reads, his progressions? That's the only thing I can think of, honestly. I mean, 8 many players on this team, they can switch in and out defensively or even on offense. I mean, you got what you have. The only thing I can think of is changing your quarterback, and maybe that will spark something.
Do you think the Saints are going to regret kind of giving up that draft capital, especially in a season like this where you probably could draft a first-round quarterback? Do you think that's something they may possibly regret?
This team never lives by regrets. That's the only thing. They would never say it, but I would say, yeah, possibly so. But at least Chris Olave has been working out for them. There's a chance that's probably the one bright thing about this team. At least the rookie hit, and he could be the rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year. Olave and Penning, Penning has a chance to be a starting left tackle for years and years to come. We just haven't seen him play. Maybe he plays this week against the Steelers. So jury's out on those picks. But for now, Olave has been outstanding for the offense. There's your one positive. He has been very good. He and Kamara, the two bright spots in that offense.
Where are you on Marcus Davenport?
Listen. Could have got Lamar Jackson in the 2018 NFL draft is the only thing I keep saying. Every time I see Lamar play, I keep saying should have drafted Lamar Jackson. And that's, it had nothing to do with Marcus Davenport. It's not his fault. Until last night, he was healthy all season, but not generating any sacks.
Yeah, that's the point. There's no production.
There's zero production. I mean, you look at the pressures, but I don't care about pressures. Where are all the sacks? Gave up 2 first-round picks to move up to number 18 to get him. Just not there. It's just not happening. It's not working out. Defensive line and as a whole just looks slow. I mean, especially when you're going against dual-threat quarterbacks, which they've struggled with all season long, made them look very slow last night. And Marcus Davenport was one of them. Lamar Jackson just made him miss a lot.
Obviously, a lot of Saints fans are not happy with DA. If things kind of go like the way they're going this season and possibly next season, how much skins on the walls do you think he has with that front office, where the Saints kind of allow him to rebuild, or do you think it's a situation where things aren't going well? They're possibly going to look for another head coach.
I saw what the Pelicans did with Stan Van Gundy. Now that's a much different organization that isn't as established as the Saints. They had a lot of moving parts going on, front office-wise, players-wise. I don't think Mickey Loomis has a knee-jerk reaction and fires a coach after 1 year. It would be wild to me if that were to happen. I think he would get one more. And let's just say if they go 6-11. I think he's going to get one more year regardless. They're going to allow him to see it through one more year, unless for some crazy reason Sean's like, "Hey, look, I want back in. I want to come back," which would blow my mind too if he said I want back in. I'm sure he'd want like 15, 20 a year to come back. But he is, I think he gets one more year. And if everyone's like, "Hey, how is he going to rebuild with no first-round picks?" Sean Payton is your first-round pick once he gets back into coaching next year, if he decides to, which I think he will.
Speaking of the Pels, not great defense last night. Come up short. Where are you with them through a few weeks?
Well, they had an embarrassing loss to Jeremy's team last week when I sat on radio saying that they would. I think Jeremy and I both thought that they would blow out the Lakers whenever we last talked. look, man, their paint defense is just not good. I think they're giving up, like 56, 57% 2-point field goal percentage, which is near the bottom of the league. Last night, 22 threes. They should have known that they were the fourth best shooting team in the NBA. They should have guarded the perimeter, which they didn't do against the Lakers with 1.3 seconds, which still blows my mind. Should have made at least one of those free throws. Trey Murphy, brain fart against the Lakers at the final horn. Just, it doesn't look good. The good news with them, Zion looks really good. He is looking like, somebody who's trying to prove everyone wrong after he pretty much missed 2 years of basketball. It's just the guards don't play defense. It's just a mess. I mean, I know they have a better record through 10 games than they did last year, but I expected them to be 7-3, not 5-5. They're better than the Lakers. They're better than the Pacers. 0-3 in overtime games. Should have won 2 of those. At least they still have 62 games left. I have a lot of faith that they would fix it. Yeah, it's super early. That's why I'm not going to just destroy them through 10 games because a lot of teams are playing bad. The Warriors are playing bad. I mean, look at it. A lot of the good teams we thought that a lot of teams we thought would be good are terrible right now. Such a long season. I think Willie Green is going to have to really get into his guys defensively. That's where it all starts. I think offensively they're fine. It's just the defense has been a mess.
Yeah, it's early for the Pels. It's getting late on the New Orleans Saints. Sharif, we appreciate the time. We'll do it again next week.
Hopefully they're at least 4-6. We'll see.
He is Sharif Ishak, WDSU. We'll come back, play some Take It or Leave It, and close it out on a Tuesday. It's Hunt and Hill.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just sign up with promo code 1045 ESPN.
You got all your favorite bets, money line, point spreads, player props, all of that, and you can combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with the same game parlay. Best part, when you win, you get paid fast with FanDuel. It's all in an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Sign up today with the promo code 1045 ESPN for your no-sweat first bet. That's promo code 1045 ESPN. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. First online real money wager only. Refund issues and eligible free bet expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. Terms of sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you're someone who knows a gambling problem, wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
We get it done with strength, commitment, dedication, grit. We get it done with passion for our fans and love for our community. We are the Tigers. Get it done.
Let the values of the purple and gold be in your starting lineup this season. And as always, get it done.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. We'll recap Saints, Ravens from Monday Night Football. Peter Burns recaps an epic weekend in BR. Sean Salisbury's here, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Really fired up for tomorrow's show. Really fired up for tomorrow in general to get over to the PMAC and watch Matt McMahon's Tigers on the hardwood for the first time. We'll break down the team, kind of preview the season a little bit. I don't know how much of UMKC Kangaroo basketball we're going to talk when you lose to a team I've never heard of and you score in the 50s last night. So I don't think they're very good. But LSU should have a pretty exciting team. I watched a few highlights of some of the recruits last night to kind of refresh myself with what their abilities are. And you got some proven guys at the college level. Yeah, a lot of it was at Murray State, but those guys can play. They won a lot of games. So I'm excited to get to the PMAC tomorrow and watch some hoops.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. Coming off that, I remember just going into the NCAA tournament and everything going on with the team. It just was a huge, punch to the stomach, and you just kind of took the air out of everyone. But I think now, brighter future. The cloud's still over our head, but I'm ready to see some Matt Miller. So let's go Tigers.
I saw Traore throwing one down at Auburn last night. He had Phillips blocking a ball off the glass in Knoxville yesterday. All Will Wade's 5-star pieces moving other places in the league. But this team's going to be good. Good. They're going to be okay. They're gonna win some conference games. There's going to be competitive night in and night out, and their non-conference schedule is not strong at all. So they ought to get off to a pretty good start, and that will be tomorrow. Of course, we'll have JT Piquel on tomorrow to talk about the college football landscape as a whole, and we will certainly touch on the Hogs and the Tigers as well. But before we get out of here on a Tuesday, let's play some Take It or Leave It.
All righty here. First baseman Anthony Rizzo, he declined his $16 million player option to return to the Yankees next season, making him a free agent headed in the spring. Are you taking or leaving? The Cubbies bring back the captain and free agency.
I'm going to leave it. They're not going to do it. If they could get him on like a 2-year deal, I'd be all for it. But they're not going to spend their money there on a first baseman. I don't think. I would love for Rizzo to come back. We did one reunion tour there with Jake Arrieta. It didn't go so hot a couple years ago. He's retired now. Rizzo, things didn't end great with Rizzo and the Cubs as far as the front office, and Rizzo with the fans, he's adored. But Rizzo wanted to come back, and he felt he got lowballed. Turns out he didn't get near what he thought he was going to get when he hit free agency, and the Yankees ended up getting him. So I would love Rizzo to come back to Chicago, but I don't think it's going to happen. Colts owner Jim Irsay defended his decision to hire Jeff Saturday as the interim head coach, saying it's a positive he has no experience at the NFL level because that'll make you fearful of the job. Jim Irsay setting a new precedent, hiring TV guys to be their interim coach. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave this, man. And someone made a great point in the Bayou for a chat. The Colts are tanking for a quarterback. You want to tank for a quarterback? Hire the guy off TV and let him scramble together and figure out this whole team overnight. Pretty sure he hasn't been to practice every day. Pretty sure he does absolutely nothing about the deep intels inside of that organization. So, yeah, if you're trying to tank for C.J. Stroud, it's probably the move. Good move, Irsay. I got to give you credit for that one. All right, here, Tiger Woods. He's teaming up with Rory McIlroy to take on Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas in the match that will take place in Bel Air, Florida on December 10th. This will be Tiger's third appearance in the match. Hunt Palmer tuning into the match this year. Take it or leave it.
Take it. This is good entertainment. It's quick. They do some good things that are entertaining. Will I watch every shot? Probably not, but I think all four of those guys have some camera presence to them They're all good friends. They're celebrities and stars. They're going to play on a gorgeous golf course. Yes, it's not appointment TV for me. I'm not going to go back and rewatch it. I may not tune in for the entire 3.5 hours or whatever it is if they play 9 holes, but I will definitely watch some of it because I think that these little 2-on-2s, 1-on-1s are entertaining and new and quick, and I think the stuff they do with it is pretty creative and pretty fun. So I'm in. Last one. A week after admitting he admired Odell Beckham Jr., the owner of the Cowboys, Jerry Jones, has doubled down on that sentiment, saying the free agent wideout would look pretty good wearing a star on the side of his helmet. OBJ headed to Arlington. Take it or leave it.
I don't know. At first, I just didn't think it was happening, and then now when I think about it, his dad is from Dallas. Big-time stars. Jerry always wants to star. Do I love it for Odell? No. They're going to hand the ball off to Pollard and Zeke as much as humanly possible. Dak's going to be at 20 to 25 attempts every game. Don't know how much my boy OBJ is going to love that, but Jerry kind of wants to get a deal done. He sometimes figures out a way to do it. So I guess I can take this one because I think Jerry, if he really wants someone, he'll find a way to get it done.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge is excited to see pro hockey coming back to the Raising Cane's River Center this winter. Tickets start at just $10 for the games at Ticketmaster.com and at the Raising Cane's River Center box office. Keep listening for your chance to win some from us. Sign up to win at 1045ESPN.com. Reminder once again, we will be out at Pluckers tonight, 8:30, doing some sports trivia. College basketball is going to be on. NBA basketball is going to be on. Action's going to be on. We have a good time on Tuesdays at 8:30. You can win Pluckers gift cards, get something cold to drink, something awesome to eat. We're there every single Tuesday at 8:30. So come on out if you're looking for something to do. If you missed any of today's show, you can catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify is all right there. We opened up the show at the top with Glenn West. Saints-Ravens talk at 1:15. Little Heisman chatter at 1:30, and then we gave our playoff predictions for tonight at the end of hour number 1. Opened hour number 2 talking about LSU for the first 30 minutes. What are the Tigers good at? What are they maybe not? And what does this matchup with Arkansas looking like? Sharif Ishak always joins us at 2:30 as he did today. So catch all that on demand. Jimmy Ott's Game Time coming at you from 6 to 8 this evening. Matt Moscona about to drive you home on After Further. You have a wonderful Tuesday. We'll see you Wednesday ready to talk some hoops.